Hello everyone, what's going on? Today I'm going to be showcasing to you Hakuri Sazanami's potential in the Kagurabachi manga, and this is by me, Kagurabachi. But before we dive deep into the deep, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all of this stuff, and also if we hit triple digits, I'm going to master IA White Purity style live on camera. It's not going to be live on camera, but it's going to be on camera. Now that's enough about me, let's go talk about Hakuri now. So first of all, with Hakuri, we have to remember, when he was a kid, he would get his ass kicked every single day by his brother, and nobody would help his bitch ass. So we have to remember that he has pretty much no training, and the most training he has is getting his shit kicked in by his big brother. Now with that being known, we could talk about the first part of his potential, which is his durability. So his current durability starts with the fact that Soya was using a bunch of tools in order to build up his durability. Well, he wasn't doing it to build up his durability, he was just being an asshole, but he was subconsciously doing it. So he used pliers to prick at his fingers. He used the jump rope to, like, I don't know, maybe like choke him out or something. And then he used, I don't know what this is, I think it's like a shaver or something, or maybe it looks more like a shaver for like potatoes. So maybe they were like shaving potatoes, or maybe Soya's weird ass was like shaving his skin off or whatever. I don't know, this guy's pretty weird. He was probably doing some weird shit with that. But anyways, he was building up his durability with tools. And then we see over here, these guys, oops, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. This guy, he like kneed Hakuri straight in the face for no goddamn reason, trying to knock him out, and it didn't even phase Hakuri, because then he sent these guys into the ceiling. And then we see over here, Hakuri took a full-on flame bone to the face. Now, Yuki did say that it was a weak flame bone, but like, you know, we're not gonna take that into account because that doesn't fit the agenda. So we're gonna say this was a full-on flame bone that Hakuri took to the face. So we see here he has ranked up quite a bit of durability feats, even though he was never specifically training his durability. Now we could look at what his potential durability could be if he just trained that a little more, or maybe a lot more. Like, first of all, he could probably tank the did he just cut the panel move from Akamura Soga? Or he could tank a fucking nuke if he really just kept training his durability, since it's already at such a high feat despite not consciously training it. Now that's just the defensive part of his skill set. Let's look at his offensive part, aka what I like to call it the Isou. Well, it's not what I like to call it, I don't know why I said that, but anyways, so we see his current Isou looks kind of like this. We see him put a bunch of blood that comes out of his big brother's back, and we see a bunch of these guys which we saw before. He sent them into the ceiling, and we see this right here with Hokuto, where he didn't really send him anywhere at all. And then after this panel, he did kind of get his ass beat and sent across the room by his own Isou. But this is just like the start of his Isou, because remember, he hasn't trained the Isou properly because he was dog shit when he was a kid and he couldn't ever train it properly. But now that he knows how to do it, he can train during the downtime that they now have, which will then lead to his potential slide. Now his potential slide will look something like this with his potential Isou. So we see the strongest Isou user, aka Soya Sazanami, he broke off this building. But remember, Hakuri's built different, so I think his Isou will look more like this, which is what looks like this, which is a lot of rubble and destruction. This is what his potential Isou could be, aka a nuke. So Hakuri Sazanami will have another nuke up his sleeve. Wait, not another nuke, this is the first nuke he can send. The other nuke that I said was one that he could defend against. This one he can send out. Anyways, after this Isou, we look at his next skill set, which I like to call love manipulation. So his current love manipulation is a very underrated moves set ability that he has that no one seems to talk about. You see, Hakuri is a very likable person, and he can make pretty much anybody like him, and he could present himself as a weakness. Like we see right here, he was his big brother's weakness. His big brother was supposedly the smartest Sazanami, second only to Kiora. And yeah, here we go, Hakuri's presence alone allowed Soya to lose his strength, and in order to do that, he did some stuff, and now he's also, Hakuri is Soya's weakness. I'm pretty sure, I don't think you understood a single thing that I said, but you pretty much got the gist of it. But not even beyond that, he could also make people kill themselves, like this ice lady right here. She was also on his side and really liked him, and then when Hakuri finally got her out, she killed herself because she was not, like, she just wasn't really fucking with him that much. And then even beyond that though, while he can serve as a weakness and as a killing mechanic, he can also serve as a strength mechanic. Like we see right here with Chihiro Rokuhira, Hakuri Sazanami says, hey, I need you to be a samurai. And then Chihiro is like, okay, I'll be your samurai, baby. And then he starts using a Hey White Purity style and makes Chihiro stronger. So his current love manipulation is very strong. However, it doesn't work on everyone because it didn't work on Kiora Sazanami. However, Kiora Sazanami is also a fucking psychopath, and he wouldn't even listen to his wife. So I highly doubt he would have had any, I doubt Hakuri would have had any chance beyond that. So it's not really his fault that, you know, his dad is just a weirdo. Plus his dad's dead anyway, so who cares about this guy? He's a dead man. This guy was tripping balls and he was doing just weird shit. His wife was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't have been so bad if you wasn't doing that Rakuzaishi shit. And then he's like, man, fuck you, you weird woman. I stopped poisoning my brain because we need to proceed. So yeah, I mean, it's not Hakuri's fault that his dad was a weirdo because he can manipulate anybody else with love. Also, again, this dude's dead anyway, so we don't need to talk about him because his potential love manipulation can go for the big dog, aka Akamura Soga. We've seen Akamura Soga love multiple people, like when he bought Chihiro his bib, and when he was a little kid, he really loved his sister, so much so that he just wanted to protect her, and she couldn't protect him, or she wanted to protect him. They were just protecting each other and stuff because they loved each other so much. So we know Akamura Soga is properly capable of actual genuine love, like the one that he had for Chihiro when he bought him his bib. I bet that bib said like, oh, I love my nephew or something, and then we could see that he definitely loved his sister. So that means Hakuri could definitely manipulate Akamura Soga with love, and then in turn he can use Akamura Soga to drop a nuke on himself and killing Akamura Soga. He can manipulate Akamura Soga to kill himself the same way that he did the Ice Lady. Actually, now that I think about it, he'd probably just use the sword to kill himself and not a nuke. I think the nuke might have been overkill and would also just harm a lot of the nature around them and kill a lot of other people. So pretend this is a sword here. But however, this is just his passive ability. Now we need to look at his ultimate, which is his Storehouse. Now his Storehouse is, like I said, his ultimate. It's his best ability, and we've seen him do it a lot with it, despite only having it for a little bit and not knowing how to use it to its full potential, and not being strong enough to use it to its full potential because he lacks the training. But even despite that, he was able to send grenades out of the Storehouse right before they were exploding, so we know he could transport things very fast. And on top of that, he was also able to transport like 50 million people outside of the Storehouse. These were actually not people, they were merchandise. And on top of that, he was able to transport people inside of the Storehouse among all those other stuff. So he was able to do a lot with the Storehouse despite only having it for like 5 seconds. Now this obviously wore him out and made him crash from exhaustion alongside of his boyfriend. But guess what? The second he was ready, he got right back into action and gave himself some more brain damage, which is very not good. But because he's only had this ability for like a little bit and hasn't had proper time to train. But even despite that, he still got his ass right back up and gave himself some more brain damage and transported more people to other spaces. So he was able to do a good amount. Look at this tap right here. Oh my gosh, wait, this is the first time I've actually seen this. I never noticed this part. What the heck? Anyways, sorry, I got distracted because I'd never seen that part of the panel before. Well, that's weird. You learn something new every day, right, guys? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, so yeah, we could see he could do quite a lot with the Storehouse despite giving himself brain damage over and over again and constantly operating while a lot weaker because he keeps getting his ass beat and keeps giving himself brain damage because he's overdoing things despite not having that much training. But now Hakuri has time to train because Chihiro is making his sword. So while Hakuri's training, we will reach his potential Storehouse, which will start here. So we could see, you might be thinking, hey, well, he could just put Akamura Soga into the Storehouse, right? Well, I thought about that plan too, but that wouldn't work because a sorcerer can guard against it. So if he does tap Akamura Soga, Akamura will know and be like, hey, I don't want to go to your Storehouse. So that plan won't work. But that's where this plan came in that I thought of all by myself about how Hakuri's potential Storehouse can just end the manga and kill Akamura Soga. So what they'll do is these guys and these guys will lure Akamura Soga into a very distinct location, and then when they lure him out there, they will drop a nuke on his head. These guys will go into the Storehouse, these guys will go out of the Storehouse. Well, not these guys This isn't a guy, this is a nuke. This will go outside of the storehouse. They go in, this goes out while it's exploding, and guess what? Because they're in a secure location, he goes boom, and he disappears and dies. And that's how Hakuri Sazanami is gonna kill him. So with that being said, let's look at this slide with Hakuri Sazanami's picture, and then let's look at this current state of Hakuri Sazanami, which starts here. He's a nice guy, he's very strong, he could do some stuff, but he gives himself brain damage and wears himself out a lot because he hasn't had the proper training. Now, potential Sazanami, Hakuri Sazanami, will have the training, like this. So here's how it'll start. He'll first overcome the power of the first patriarch, surpassing him. Then he'll surpass the power of Akamura Soga. Then he'll surpass the power of Saitama. Then he'll surpass the power of Goku, becoming Goku Versal. Hakuri Sazanami will then become the strongest character in all of anime because he has the potential to do so. So that's where his potential lies, becoming the strongest character in all of anime. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching my TED Talk. If you understand what I'm saying here today, you will also love me. So thank you guys. I love Takeru Hokuzono. Thank you guys so much for watching possibly. And also thank you for understanding Hakuri Sazanami will become the greatest character in all of fiction, and the strongest character in all of fiction, and the strongest character in anime, and he'll kill everybody, and he'll kill Akamura Soga, and he'll just kill everything, and I kill everything, I die, thank you, bye bye!
He's pulling his cock out!